So all this brand in review. We know B of A is not in review. You went on the record. What is going on with sort of this tsunami, tidal wave, or I don't know what's going on?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. I think it's a confluence of a number of different factors. I think that you do have at its core a couple of themes. One, pricing. We have a lot of challenges in our industry today because what we're learning is that standardized ad units do not work in environments that consumers like to spend time in. Social media requires a bespoke ad asset. So if you're on Snapchat, if you're on Pinterest, if you're doing something with Vice News, you need to make something that's relevant to that audience. And that's expensive when you think about a creative model. On the media side, similarly, where should the investment be? For so many years, as you know, Andy, we talked about reach and frequency and scale. Then the conversation moved to engagement. And now it seems to be more about catalyst and cultivation, where you start small and it goes big, and the media investment comes in after you've started that journey. And so it requires a reset in thinking. So there's that piece. And then there's trust and transparency. Trust that my agency has the right model. Transparency has to do with the relationship with vendors. And agencies, I think, for the most part, have been transparent about what they're not transparent about, which is to say, it's a fiduciary agency model when it comes to media investment, unless you're using their trading desk, and they tell you that, well, in our trading desk, we are going to make a profit. And then you as a marketer have to make a decision. Am I comfortable with that, or do I want to look at other options? And so those are, I think, two of the major dynamics here, but we are in an upheaval we've never seen before in this business, and marketers realize that they need a new pathway to market, and they're going to invest their dollars differently.
And we like to talk about video on the show here. We saw you around the New Fronts. What are your thoughts about the value or the state of video advertising for brands in terms of pre-roll as we've known them, and now video going into streams? There's some question about ad load maybe being too much. There's some question about the ad blockers coming up. What's going on with video? How's that landscaping changing?
Yeah, I think what's happening is what's old is new again. What we're finding is that pre-roll is headwind for content consumption. And we also know that content consumption is the way for the marketer to have a different kind of relationship with the consumer. So smarter marketers are actually saying, can we use interstitial? Can we use mid-roll or post-roll to introduce our brand after the story starts to unfold and the audience is engaged? That all of a sudden sounds like a model that we call television advertising, doesn't it? Where we're moving to video within the content consumption experience. Great marketers are also starting to use that video as more than an ad, as its own content. I've seen some great examples, and my company included at Bank of America, where we're creating episodic video content so that if you're binge watching on a platform, we're not running the same ad with high frequency over and over again, but there are chapters to that ad. We're telling stories too, but we're using it in the space otherwise known as advertising. Ultimately, it's going to come down to, and I hate to say this because we've been talking about this for a long time, being digital first, which is really now being mobile first, which is really now being native first. Snapchat started the conversation with the vertical video because that's actually how people hold their phone. And we've all been there when we're trying to make our phone flip sideways, and we're somehow, for whatever reason, it won't, and we're frustrated and we drop. Let's not make the consumer even take that action. Let's make the video vertical and relevant to the moment they're in, and tell a great story, and not disrupt them from whatever they might be doing, but join the conversation. I think that's the future of video. It's storytelling, and I think it's going to be the biggest part of our business in the future.